Jake leases a car. Marcus buys the exact same car. Both of them are convinced they made the brilliant choice. Here's the problem. Neither one actually ran the math, and when you do run it, the gap isn't just noticeable, it's massive. Let's make this a fair fight. Jake and Marcus both pull in $55,000 a year, same income, same car goals, same taste. They both want a $30,000 sedan, identical model, identical trim, even the same paint color. They walk into the same dealership on the same Saturday afternoon. The only difference? The paperwork they sign. Jake signs a 36-month lease, $2,000 down, $299 monthly. The salesman's grinning because he just made commission, but he's also telling Jake something that sounds pretty good. Low payment, brand new vehicle, full warranty, and in 3 years, just drop the keys and walk. No drama, no strings, no headaches. Sounds clean, right? Marcus goes a different route. He takes out a 60-month auto loan at 6% interest. His down payment is $3,000. His monthly? $522. That's $223 more than Jake. Every single month. The salesman doesn't have to say a word. Marcus can already feel that difference in his chest. On day one, Jake drives off feeling like he beat the system. Lighter payment, heavier wallet. But there's something Jake hasn't figured out yet. The structure of what he just signed is fundamentally different from Marcus. And that difference, stretched over time, is worth tens of thousands of dollars. Every dollar Marcus pays is buying him ownership. Every dollar Jake pays is renting permission. That's not just semantics. That's the entire game. If you're tired of second-guessing your money moves, hit subscribe. We break down the math they don't want you to see. For the next 3 years, Jake's living his best life. Brand new car, that factory smell, full manufacturer warranty wrapping him like a safety blanket. Something breaks? Covered. Brake pads wear down? Covered. A C quits in the middle of July? Covered. Jake's only paying his lease, insurance, and gas. No surprises, no panic, no random $1,200 repair bills destroying his weekend. Marcus, different universe. He's dropping $522 every month while watching his car lose value like it's on a timer. The second he left the lot, his $30,000 car became a $27,000 car. End of year one, about $23,000. Year two, maybe $20,000. Meanwhile, his loan balance is still hovering around $22,000. That's called being underwater. And mentally, it's brutal. Every payment feels like shoveling money into a hole. Jake sees it, everyone around Marcus sees it, and the conclusion seems obvious. Jake nailed it. Now, let's actually run the numbers through year three. Jake's paid $2,000 up front, plus 36 months at $299. Total, $12,764. Marcus paid $3,000 down plus 36 months at $522. Total, $21,792. Jake has spent $9,028 less than Marcus. That's not pocket change. That's a vacation, a down payment on something else, or a serious chunk of savings. On paper, Jake's crushing it. But year three is where the story flips. Jake's lease ends. He returns to the dealership with three options. 1, buy the car at its residual value, usually around $16,000 to $18,000 for a $30,000 car after 3 years. 2. Walk away, hand over the keys, owe nothing. 3. Lease again and restart the cycle. Jake does what 80% of lessees do. He leases another car, new contract, another $2,000 down, another $299 monthly, another 36 months. He's back at month 1. The odometer resets. The payment cycle? That doesn't. Marcus, meanwhile, is 36 months into his 60-month loan. He's got 24 payments left. Still frustrating, yeah. But here's the key. Marcus sees a finish line. It's circled on his calendar. Every payment brings him closer to owning this thing outright. Every payment Jake makes brings him closer to giving the car back and starting over. Still with me? Drop a comment if you've been stuck in the lease cycle. Let's talk about it. This is the core difference that the monthly payment conversation completely hides. One is a treadmill. The other is a ladder with an actual top rung. Month 60. Marcus makes his final payment. Done. Finished. The car is his. Title in hand. From this moment forward, his only car costs are insurance, gas, and maintenance. For a typical sedan, that's about $100 to $150 monthly. Oil changes, tires, brakes, the occasional fix. Jake? Still swiping $299 every month. It's background noise now. It's just part of his budget woven into his life. And that's the real danger of leasing. It normalizes a permanent car payment. You stop questioning it. But background noise still costs real money. Let's check the scoreboard at year 6. Jake's completed 2 full leases. Total spent $2,000 down on lease 1, $10,764 in payments. $2,000 down on lease 2, $10,764 in payments. Grand total, $25,528. He owns nothing. No title, no asset, just a filing cabinet of receipts. Marcus spent $3,000 down plus $31,320 in loan payments. That's $34,320 total, but now he has 0 monthly payments and owns a car worth approximately $11,000 to $13,000. Subtract that asset value from his total spend, and his effective cost is around $21,000 to $23,000. Jake, $25,528 spent, 0 assets. Marcus, roughly $22,000 effective cost, plus a car sitting in his driveway that he owns. The flip happened quietly, but it happened. And from here, every month that passes makes Marcus stronger and Jake weaker. The monthly payment is the shiny number the dealership shows you. It's on the commercial, the website, the little card the salesman slides across the desk. What they don't slide over is the fine print attached to that number. Mileage caps. Most leases allow 10,000 to 12,000 miles yearly. Average American drives about 13,500. You're over before you even realize it. Penalty, 15 to 25 cents per mile. Drive 5,000 over across 3 years. That's $750 to $1,250 due at return. Surprise tax. Wear and tear. They inspect when you return it. That door ding, the coffee stain, the curb rash from one bad parking job, all billable. Normal wear is defined by them, not you. What you call normal, they call a $300 charge. Disposition fees. Most people don't even know this exists. Return the car without leasing another. You're charged $300 to $500 just so they can process and resell it. You're literally paying them to take the car back. And if life changes mid-lease, new city, job loss, family shift, getting out early can cost you the entire remaining balance. There's no easy exit. You're locked in. These costs don't show up in the $299, but they show up eventually. If this is making sense, share it with someone about to sign a lease. It might save them thousands. Now, let me be fair. Buying has real costs people downplay. Once the manufacturer warranty expires, usually year 3 or 4, everything's on you. Brakes, tires, belts, the AC dying on the hottest day of summer. Unlike a lease, there's no one to call. You're paying the mechanic or learning YouTube DIY. For a typical sedan, post-warranty maintenance averages $1,200 to $1,800 yearly. Some years, it's just oil changes. Other years, it's a $2,000 transmission fix that wrecks your month. The unpredictability is the hard part. With a lease, you know the payment. But depreciation slows dramatically after the first few years. Time is the buyer's advantage. Here's the full picture over 10 years. Jake's leased 3 to 4 cars. Each cycle costs roughly $12,000 to $13,000. Add mileage overages, wear charges, and fees across multiple leases, and Jake's 10-year total lands between $45,000 and $52,000. At year 10, Jake has no car. Or rather, he has one, but it's not his. It never was. Marcus paid $34,320 for his loan, then spent roughly $10,000 to $14,000 on maintenance over the next 5 to 7 years. His 10-year total is about $44,000 to $48,000, and he still has a car in his driveway. Older, sure, but worth $4,000 to $6,000 and fully paid for. Netted out, Marcus spent less and has an asset. Jake spent more and has nothing. The difference over a decade? $15,000 to $25,000. And that's just one car. Most people repeat this 3, 4, 5 times in their adult life. Multiply that gap by 5, and you're looking at a 6-figure difference in lifetime wealth. I'd be dishonest if I said leasing never makes sense. If you're self-employed, lease payments can be tax deductible. That changes everything. If you drive luxury cars where out-of-warranty maintenance is brutal, leasing keeps you inside the warranty window. Leasing a BMW is different than leasing a Civic. And if you're disciplined enough to invest the $223 monthly savings into an index fund averaging 8 to 10% annually, you could come out ahead. But be honest, would you actually invest that or just spend it? For the average person driving an average car, buying and holding wins. It's not sexy. Nobody's making viral videos about driving a paid-off sedan. But math doesn't care about hype. Jake and Marcus both thought they were making smart moves. Neither ran the numbers past month 1. The real trap isn't leasing or buying. The real trap is making a $30,000 decision based on a monthly payment without asking, what does this actually cost over 5 years, 10 years, a lifetime? If you found this helpful, subscribe for more breakdowns that cut through the noise. And next time someone slides a too good to be true monthly payment across the desk, ask yourself one question. What does this actually cost me when it's all over? Because that's the only number that matters.